Thank you, Senator Blackburn, and I now recognize myself. First of all, thank you so much to the nominees for being here and your families. Dr. Jacob, great conversation yesterday. I didn't share with you, but I assume you know this. I represent Delaware, which is the lowest mean elevation state in the country. So for us, Delawareans are deeply, deeply concerned about rising sea levels, inland flooding, and like the rest of the country, extreme heat. It doesn't appear these things are going away. And so to me, it's vitally important, the conversation you had with Senator Kim about making sure that this is science-based and that we recognize the impacts of climate change are a priority. And as I did share, I'm concerned about cuts to NOAA. Gutting NOAA is a costly mistake that Americans will pay the price through rising home insurance rates, destroyed communities, and in some cases, their lives. And again, I hope there is a real focus on this and that NOAA gets the support that it needs. And as the ranking member of the Coast Guard, Maritime, and Fisheries Subcommittee, I understand the role that NOAA plays in safeguarding our marine ecosystems, supporting our coastal communities, and enforcing laws against illegal, unreported, and unregulated, or IUU, fishing. Right now, NOAA's capacity to do this work is under serious threat. The Office of Marine and Aviation Operations is currently short 180 mariners, and without an exemption from the hiring freeze, as was discussed, 30% of NOAA's research fleet will remain docked this summer. In a recent subcommittee hearing on IUU fishing, I asked the witnesses, Democrats and Republicans, what the impact of a 30% cut to NOAA's enforcement would mean for tracking and prosecuting illegal activity on the high seas, and the responses that all of them painted were very bleak. Dr. Jacobs, what is your plan to mitigate this loss of operational capacity, and how will you ensure NOAA can deliver on its scientific mission with such a reduced fleet?
Thank you for the question. So I definitely understand your concerns, and I think it's, you know, if confirmed, I'll get in there and really take a look at the staffing levels, because there's a difference between the wage mariners and the law enforcement when it comes to IUU fishing. And I also understand that the issue with the wage mariners and not having the hiring freeze lift is challenging, particularly in this market because it's so competitive with industry for the same jobs. So my approach, if confirmed, would be to focus on making sure that we try to get the wage mariner situation sorted out, as well as looking at other options, potentially autonomous vehicles to do certain fish surveys if we can use those instead. So would definitely appreciate working with you on this.
Look forward to it as well. Mr. Kumar, as the nominee of the Office of Legislative Affairs, you'll serve as the primary liaison to Congress. It's such an important role. And one of your core functions is to ensure timely and substantive responses as we exercise our oversight role on behalf of the American people. I have to say I've been frustrated by the lack of response of letters that I've sent. In the last 6 months, I've sent 8 letters to the Secretary of Commerce on a variety of topics, from the implementation of the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program to the abrupt restructuring of the Minority Business Development Agency, but I haven't received a substantive response yet. I'm just going to ask, are you familiar with the letters that we sent to the department?
Thank you for the question, Senator. Yes, I am at a high level, yes.
At a high level. And I wanted to know, when do you think I could receive a response, or is this going to be a priority of your job?
Yes, if confirmed, as I said in my opening statement, I understand fully the importance of timely information being provided back to the committee and its members. I know MBDA, I know there's broad active litigation going on, but even in those instances, I'd like to at least be able to communicate what we can and can't say on a matter and making sure you're getting information back.
So I brought the letters with me, so I'll give them to you afterwards because I'd really love some substantive responses, not the kind of form letter response. Would love to follow up with you on that should you be confirmed. And Dr. Jacobs, just to pivot back to seafood fraud and mislabeling. I have some questions for you, but what specific steps would you take to strengthen NOAA's efforts to combat seafood fraud? And what role should technology, traceability, and interagency enforcement play in the efforts?
Well, as far as technology goes, one of the things that I found pretty interesting is a lot of these vessels, and sometimes they're flagged under other nations, will be fishing in our EEZ. They'll turn off their transponders, come in, illegally fish in our waters, and then go back out. And we can actually see them on satellite imagery. So there's a way to trace them down, and working potentially with the Navy and the Coast Guard on this, I think would be great. As far as the actual import monitoring, one of the things that I've been interested in is actually doing genetic analysis on certain seafood products because we can trace the origins of it then.
I want to end with something we discussed in my office, which was the Sea Grant program. I think it's a vitally important program, particularly for communities across this country, including U.S., Puerto Rico, Guam. It's one of those things that really helps the communities. You talked about the big data. If we have the data, but people don't understand how they can apply it and use it, how it could help with economic development, how it could help with resiliency and making sure that our communities are safe, it does us no good. And so in our meeting, I was pleased to hear you say, this program is awesome. Those were your words, awesome. And so I am imploring you to make sure that this program is protected because, again, it does so much for our local communities, for our business opportunities, and really to make sure that folks are safe. And so I thank you for that. I am actually going to yield back time myself, and I will follow up with additional questions. But I will now recognize Senator Capito.